What's up, man? This is the touchdown hoedown, if you couldn't tell by my symbol. And hey, new guy, you're probably finding me because we actually figured out how to fix the fucking search engine results. So welcome, you motherfather. You should probably know I'm the Degenerate 75. I'm a high-limit DFS player whose goal is to help you get better at this shit, because if you don't know, brother, it's not easy. I got a dude that helps me with all this football content. I'll introduce him in a minute, but he knows his shit a little bit too. He might have taken down a GPP or 12 in his day also. So what you want to know is we do this every Saturday. Every Saturday. This is our final thoughts. We also do a early week preview on Tuesday. And, of course, we do the Showdown Hoedown, which is kind of the staple of the brand every Monday and Thursday. So come check those out, you motherfather. You got to be asking yourself, what the hell's that big wheel over your shoulder? Well, let me tell you, new guy. If you go like and retweet my shit over on Twitter, or you just simply leave a comment in this video, we put your name on there. If we're going to spin it towards the end of the show, I'm not going to do it now. I'll do it later, you motherfather. And if you get it, you get to make a free Millionaire Maker ticket on me. And if we win, anything we win, I'll split 50-50 with you. I'll PayPal your ass, okay? Already had some guys hit some nice ones, had to PayPal way more money than I want to talk about, but that's okay because they're supporting the brand and I appreciate them. So if you want to do that, you can do that. If y'all, the easier way to get in is just go fucking comment on this YouTube video and tell me this. Just tell me this, new guy or guy who's been here 1,000 times. Who is the one guy? What is the one stack? Let me rephrase it. What's the one stack you're definitely playing this week? Drop that in the comments. You'll get another name on here. Go like and retweet on Twitter. You'll get another name on here. And then you get a free Millionaire Maker ticket. There's worse things in the world, brother. So that other guy you'll be making the lineup with is my homie who does all these videos with me. You should know him not by now, you asshole. His name is John Gold JD. How you doing, brother?
Man, I feel like you've been very mean to the new guy this time.
You know, now that I know I'm actually getting new guys based on we got a ton of new subscribers with the last video, I know I got more coming in, so I got to get a little sassy with them. You got to put them in their place. If you give them too much at the start, they start to expect. You got to just let them know how it's going to be. You got to lay down the rules.
All right, new guy. I'm here to be nice to you, new guy.
John's a way nicer guy than me, okay? That's why we have him on, you know? Fucking sandpaper needs velvet, right? And he's the velvet guy. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk contest selection. Of course, we're going to talk about the slate. Then we're going to do the drawing. And then we're going to get the fuck out of here, you motherfather. So you can go make your lineups. If you've already made them, you go erase that shit until after you hear what we've had to say, because we might say some things that make you think about things a little bit differently. So let's get going, John. First of all, DraftKings lobby. We talk about this every week, new guy. John, what are the contests you really like for this weekend? Like what are some contests that if you could only play 5 lineups this entire weekend, what would be the 5 contests you'd play in, regardless of money?
Well, I mean, if anyone was going to gift me 5 tickets to that 444, I would play them. But if I'm using my own money,
your own money, don't be a smart ass. The new guy's starting to think you're going to be sassy all show. Come on, there's no way you're putting up $4,000 for that piece of shit contest.
Yeah, it is terrible. I like the $33 5 max if I was going to only play 5 entries. I think that $33 5 max is a solid tournament and lets you
it's a great tournament. Yeah, I love this tournament, right? I would be more like, I'm a single entry guy. I love single entry because the great thing about single entry is, A, you're playing the same number of lineups as everybody else in the tournament, right? Instead of you playing 1 and then playing 150, it's 1v1. I like that. But what I really like is you'll learn that in single entry ownership pools, right? Like it becomes even more concentrated. So say Josh Allen's going to be 12% this week in GPPs. I guarantee you he'll be something like 20% in those single entries. And so if I know that the chalk is going to concentrate and I have a pivot stack that I really like, I get even more leverage with that in single entries. So I'm attacking $50 single entries, $100 single entries, $12 single entries. I love those. Those are the ones I'm taking on. You got any takes on that, John?
Yeah, I mean, the real answer to your question is I'm playing way more than 5 lineups, and I'm playing all of those on top of what I mentioned. So,
well, not everybody's John Galt too rich, okay? Some people have a budget.
Well, no, yeah, and I think basically what you do is you just start at whatever the lowest dollar amount that you want to play, and you go up from there until you're not comfortable or you've used your roll. So, like, there's a $1.20 max if you want to play a big field, but all of these like $12 single entries are really good.
$5 single
entries,
$8 3 maxes, all great contests.
$3 20 max that if you want to like take a shot at a bigger field but don't want a 150 max, the $3.20 max is awesome.
By the way, if you're trying to watch your budget, don't be playing in the Fantasy Golf World Championship. That's really cool. I've been in it. I've been to the live final before for golf, and it's really cool to be in. But I'm gonna make an assumption, guy who's watching my video, I probably have a bigger bankroll than you, so I can burn more money chasing those tickets. If you are trying to preserve your money and slowly grow it and not have to deposit every Saturday night, then don't play in these tournaments, brother. This is a satellite, and if you think the Millionaire Maker has a bad payout, don't go check out the payout on these satellites, brother. It'll really make you disgusted.
Yeah, and that's a 50, I think it's a 56 or maybe it's 65, I can't remember which one, dollar seat value. So think about if you were to win 65K in a GPP, would you really want to then roll that into one seat in a fantasy football world championship? Wouldn't you rather have 65K? So go play a, similarly dollared, GPP with cash payout. And yeah, save that for the people that have rolls and can chase the like massive rolls. You need a massive roll to chase that one particularly.
And here's the general rule. If I'm not playing 150 lineups, I don't play in the 150 maxes. So like the $20, the $9, all the ones that you can enter, the $33, all the ones where you can enter a max 150, MME, a mass multi-entry. I don't usually play in those. Sometimes I'll throw my 20 lineups in the $9 just so I can track how I'm doing for the week. But outside of that, like that's it. I'm not making lineups specifically for the $9.
I'm not against that. I'm not against like building 50 in a one where other people can do 150, and I do that like semi-regularly. So I don't think there's like anything inherently wrong with that.
But we've already established he's John Too Rich, so you can't listen to him. You can't listen to him. He's on a different playing field. All right, let's get into this. We're going to be here all night if we don't jump into this because there's a lot of news, a lot of takes, a lot of chalk, things we got to consider. By the way, 13 games. This is Run the Sims. If you don't know, Run the Sims is probably the best tool-assisted site out there for fantasy football. Me and John swear by it. Watch us use it. If you think it's cool, I'm telling you, it's great for week long. It's even better for Showdown. You can adjust the numbers how you want. If you think the scores are going to be different or certain players are going to get more action, you simply just go adjust it. You run the simulations. It gives you who will be the most optimized players. If you're playing fantasy football without tools, you're a donkey dick. So Go if you want to go check it out even for a week, just use code DEGEN75, DEGEN75. It'll get you 10% off. You can't beat it. Already had tons of people go over there. Not one person has messaged me saying, hey, I don't like it. But I've got plenty of messages from people saying they love it.
Yeah, and I don't even think you need to say probably before saying it's probably the best commercially available software out there for daily fantasy sports. It is easily the best commercially available software for daily fantasy sports available. And if you think there's anything out there that like can go toe to toe with this, please put it in the notes below because I'd love to see it.
Yeah,
we're
not opposed to learning about other ones. We
like some tools. I'm not above anything. So if you think there's anything that can go toe to toe with this, please drop it in the notes below. I'd love to check it out.
All right, let's just go game by game, John. We're going to be talking about guys that we want to fade, guys that we might like as one-off, and if we can see a stack. Hey, new guy, you need to know this. When we talk about stacks, there's mini stacks, which is like a correlated stack. This running back versus this receiver is like the secondary part of your lineup. But usually when we're talking about stacks, we're talking about the quarterback, usually with one or two other guys from his team, likely pass catchers, and then running it back with somebody from the other team. That's what we're usually talking about as our primary stack. I just want you to know the verbiage so you're not getting confused about what we're talking about. So let's start out with a banger of a game. The Detroit Lions.
Quick, why is that important?
Why? What? Because if you don't know, new guy, in DFS, if you want to just go pick 9 random guys that are going to do well, you might as well just go play fucking scratch-offs at 7-Eleven. What you need in DFS to minimize the luck is a thing called correlation, where you need where you need certain guys to do well. It directly correlates to other guys doing well. So now instead of 9 individual things having to go right for you to be successful, maybe you just need 3 things to go right. 4 things to go right. That's way more likely.
4 touchdowns and 3 of them goes to Diggs. That's a good thing, right?
I'd say so. I like double points.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's exactly the point, is you're just trying to reduce the number of things you have to get right, and when guys can hit their ceilings all together, I just want to lump them together.
Did you see this guy just quiz me on my own fucking show? The nerve.
Well, I'm trying to get better at this banter thing.
All right. This guy has one margarita. He gets saucy. Okay. Here we go.
I turned into a regular reporter over here, news anchor.
In his defense, he was at the President's Cup all day, cheering on Team America. Okay, so
you should have heard the USA chants. It was. I was like borderline cringe.
I just assumed you were out there leading it with nothing but American underwear on. That's what I want to visualize. I don't know if it's true, but that's how I want to visualize it. Not you in the underwear, just you leading it.
There were some outfits out there today. Yeah, like full out American flag overalls, and yeah, it was something.
America, man. All right, here we go.
Exactly.
It is a first game is a banger. Detroit versus Minnesota. Man, I'm very interested in both sides of this game, and honestly, that's not a hot take. If you're not slightly interested in this game, I kind of got to wonder what's wrong with you. Detroit has already shown a propensity to have a very effective offense this year, which is kind of weird to say about Detroit, but their defense is still kind of suspect, and even when it seems like it plays well, they still end up backdooring, giving up 24 points. Minnesota looked like shit in prime time, so no way they could do well, or they could. So, what's your first takes on this game, John?
Yeah, I pretty much just would echo exactly what you said. Exactly what you said about Detroit, and then exactly about Minnesota. I think the general public's smart enough not to just discount them and be like, "Yeah, we saw him lay an egg the other night," and so I think the public will still go back to Minnesota at a decent clip. But overall, I think you can't avoid this game. I think I will. So again, like macro strategy this week, and I think we talked a little bit about it last week. I was trying to really be intentional about the games I played last week and really trying to just avoid like ancillary pieces of games I didn't really like,
Right.
and pretty much like focusing down. I think last week I really only played those 3 games. And I mean, fortunately, the 3 games I actually got right were like the 3 best games, but I just didn't have the right pieces together and ended up with like not a profitable week, which is sort of frustrating because I feel like I got a lot right last week. And when it's like really hard to get stuff right in NFL. And so like in a week where you put a lot of pieces together and like, I had all the guys that hit ceiling outcomes except for Tua, but I played a ton of Lamar and Andrews and bringing him back with Waddle, but didn't just do the premium double on the other side, getting Hill in there too. And that was what it took to like win big field stuff. But in a week where you get a lot right, it's sort of frustrating. And so, I'm going to do the same thing this week on like macro strategy, like right back to being tight on the games I play. And this is one of the games I'll be playing.
Man, I went back and I looked at my last 20 weeks. I found, this is probably not a hot take, but the number one thing correlated to my success is my primary stack hitting, right? I play very few. I only play 3 stacks each week, 3 primary stacks. Last week it was Lamar, it was Goff, and it was Lawrence. And 2 of the 3 got there, right? And Lamar really, really got there, right? And so I ended up having a very good week because when you have a third of your lineups with the guy that's basically the highest scoring player on the slate, you tend to do well. And even Tua, who was kind of a slate breaker, doing well, he was so low owned that it still allowed me to finish very high in a lot of GPPs. But what I learned going back and looking at my lineups is that it's all about this. And I hate to say this, but the most important thing is hitting your primary stack. Without question, if you can hit that and that game goes off, that's what leads to big profitable weeks. Tell me I'm wrong.
Definitely. That I think is probably the most fundamental thing. But I think the other piece is getting things right that the field is getting wrong. So weeks that you're playing either a stack that is being underplayed or you play like the piece that is off of. So like the week that everyone played the Burrow or the Bengals defense, if you had played the opposite and played, I don't even remember who they were playing that week, that offense, offensive players from that team, you're basically like directly pivoting off what the chalk is in like a very actionable way. Or like, I guess in another way, if there's chalk running back playing a wide receiver on their team with the thought that like if the wide receiver gets there, presumably the running back is failing. And so, yeah, I think I kind of think I lost my point there, but
it's the Margs, man. So let me get you back on path here. Do you see a GPP winning stack in this game? Can you run a Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, or can you run a Jefferson, Kirk, Adam Thielen and get there with a GPP win? Is this the kind of game that those 3 guys, that big stack, would have enough upside to get you the 90 to 100 points you need from your primary stack?
I think you can get both. I think both sides on this. I think both quarterbacks are viable stacks. Yes.
All right, and let's now just real quick. If you did run those stacks, who would be the primary guy you'd want to run it back with?
I guess it would vary. So I actually think on the Minnesota side of the ball, Dalvin Cook, I was hoping was going to be lower owned than it maybe looks like he's going to be because, he hasn't come off a good game. He hasn't necessarily looked great this season, but his volume is still insane and he's playing the Lions. So I think the public is probably thinking the same thing I am. Like, yep, he's playing the fucking Lions. Let's roster him. So that's a little frustrating because I thought I was going to get a Dalvin Cook as like a sneaky play this week because he was one of my favorites like before I started looking at ownership.
Yeah, he ain't going to be sneaky anymore, brother.
I know.
I honestly like Dalvin Cook versus DeAndre Swift. If you had to pick one, who would you take this week?
Dalvin Cook. I'm so worried that Swift is like still a little banged up and they may limit him
I was really
Williams
wanting to
get.
hear that he had healed up, but I haven't heard that, so that does make me a little nervous. But all things being equal, I'd rather take Swift. But this week, I agree, I'd take Cook.
I think Swift has a higher ceiling because he's more involved in the passing game.
Now, here's my question for you. This game, look at the optimizer rate. None of these guys in this game are particularly high in the overall optimized rate for the week for a game that we're probably projecting to be the highest scoring on the slate. Why do you think that nobody's that high in the optimizer rate? Is it because the usage is so focused and those guys are priced fairly for what we're expecting out of their usage? Namely, like Jefferson, Swift, Cook, Amon-Ra, guys like that?
Yeah, I'd go look at the inputs to be totally sure, but my guess would be that because these have so many viable options in this game, that none of them hit any individual time enough to be like optimal. But the reality is, like, when games actually play out, like, someone is very likely to score chunk points. Like Jefferson is likely to get or not likely, but I mean, like, the way the game actually could play out is Jefferson catches a long pass, and so he ends up with like a 14-point play. Or Dalvin Cook breaks one and ends up with like the similar type thing, a 13-point play. Or like Dalvin Cook ends up getting 3 touchdowns because they get down there and so like in like those long-term iterations of this, yeah, they're all pretty flat in terms of who gets there. But in any one iteration, I think this is likely to have a outsourced or a ceiling outcome from one of these guys.
All right.
So I want to trying to get a ceiling outcome.
Last thing about this game, because we're not going to spend this long on every game. It's just kind of a big game. Give me a sneaky play. Give me somebody from this game. You want to get some action on this game, but you don't want to play who everybody else is playing. Give me a sneaky play right now.
Adam Thielen.
I agree. Look at that. You can't. Is it because you owe me a Millionaire maker ticket because of that guy? Is that what this is about? He made you come over to the dark side?
It was really interesting, his usage on a primetime game. Like, he didn't get targeted at all until the end of the game. And then they're like, oh, that's right. We do have this other wide receiver. Maybe we should throw him the fucking ball.
Amen
and
to
then
that.
They started throwing him the ball. And so I'm hoping that'll carry forward the momentum into the start of next game, that they don't decide to wait until the fourth quarter to start throwing Adam Thielen the ball. Because if defenses are going to be uber focused on Justin Jefferson, as they probably should be, right? The dude's insanely talented. Mm-hmm. Then like that leaves Adam Thielen to be like a very viable number 2, where offenses aren't necessarily focusing on him. And like we've seen plenty of spike games from Thielen in the past, so he could easily put on a spike performance at any given week. And if he's going to be the lowest owned piece of a game that I think has like shootout potential, that's like I think a way to get an opportunity in this game.
Plus, he's a guy you can play with Cousins and make your stack a little bit more lower owned, right? Like a little, like much more, pivoty. Right? And
he's cheaper, so he helps with salary.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make it work.
$5,900. He's not uber cheap, but he's not cheaper.
He actually went up in price. I swear he was like 54. I don't think Hawkinson and Irv Smith are going to exactly be sneaky plays. I actually think they're going to be pretty highly owned as some nice cheap options in a game that's projected to go scoring high. Are you interested in eating the chalk on either one of those motherfathers?
No, definitely not Irv Smith. People saw him catch a touchdown the other night. And I don't really want to chase like a touchdown upside performance from a tight end that like week 1 was pretty much
go ahead and tell everybody right now you're playing 100% Kelsey. Just tell them.
I'm not going to play 100% Kelsey because I don't play 100% anyone, but Kelsey will be my highest owned player.
We're moving on to this other game. We got to move on. We're gonna be here all night if we keep up at this pace. Houston, Chicago. First of all, disgusting. Second of all,
I actually want nothing to do with this game.
Why the fuck is OJ Howard 10%? I guess Brevin Jordan must be out, right? I guess I didn't see that news today.
Out.
Okay, so and OJ already caught 2 touchdowns week 1, didn't he?
Yeah,
and we already know Davis Mills has an eye for him. I'm just saying, if I'm gonna play a punt tight end, I'd rather play a punt OJ Howard than a punt Juwan Johnson or who the hell was the one we just talked about? Irv Smith. Is that weird that I'd rather play OJ Howard than those two?
No, I like that actually. If I had, and now that you've actually talked it through and I've had a chance to look at this one, actually, OJ Howard may be the only piece I would play in this game. David Montgomery is getting tons of ownership after he came off that game the other primetime slate.
You don't want to play 20% own David Montgomery? What is wrong with you?
I can't think of like literally anything else I would rather do less.
Not even. You wouldn't even want a swift kick to the nuts less than that?
I think I'd rather take the swift kick to the nuts.
I would say if you play him, 20%. You're taking a swift kick to the nuts. That's what I would say.
Like I mean, his price tag is cheap. His role is insane in Chicago. But like, I just want none of that.
I will say this one. Don't go chasing the defenses in this game. Games like this, everybody thinks, oh, that team sucks. I'll play the defense. I don't think these teams really pass enough or will have the pace to get you enough plays for the sacks, the interceptions, the pick sixes, the scoop and score on a quarterback sack that you really want in a game. So I really don't like the defenses in this game. I would just
Not
put
to
that out
mention,
there.
does that say 3,800 for Chicago's DST?
Absolutely. They got Roquan Smith.
Dude, that's going to be a no for me, dog. I don't care.
You will put some respect on Chicago's name. They used to have Khalil Mack, so they're a legit defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe that's carrying over their pricing. It's hard to tell, but
Pal, you watch out.
3,800 feels broken for them.
You know what feels broken? That game. Let's get the fuck off of it. I like this one. Here's been a good rule so far this season. Play the Washington game. When I saw this,
play Jalen Hurts. That's been a good rule.
Oh, too. I know. And so you can check both boxes this game, right? Like you can like two birds with one stone. Tell me why this line. I feel like this line should be more like 49 to 50. Why is it sitting at 47.5?
Yeah, actually, I thought this one was a little low. This is actually a spot I like betting the over. I like this game too. This is probably the second game I'll be playing. I actually see 1, 2, 3, 4 games I think I'm playing.
All right. Hey, you're getting ahead of yourself, big guy. Let's talk about this game. Jalen Hurts. Can you double stack him?
Oh, definitely. I think you can do it, but you have to do it thoughtfully. So what I mean by that is you probably can't do the two most expensive pieces with them. So you probably can't do A.J. Brown and I guess it'd be Goddard.
I think it's Devontae's 54 or something, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Okay, it's Devontae
52.
So that I think it's a slightly prohibitive because I just don't know that he has the passing volume. But I guess he showed last week he can gunsling it and get multiple receivers there. So I think of the people that play,
he could definitely get Goddard and Devontae there at those price tags, especially if AJ's kind of not involved like he was last week. I mean, all Dallas Goedert needs is 5 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. He's already there, and then Devontae goes 6 for 107 and a touchdown. He gets there, right?
So I have a theory about alpha wide receivers, and it's that they don't have 2 bad games in a row.
Okay, well, I gotta take for you. AJ Brown's not an alpha wide receiver. How about that one?
No, okay, that's wrong. That's not a take. That's just wrong.
He's not. Watch, he's gonna have such a disappointing year. All right, so I'm playing AJ Brown.
If he has a disappointing year, it's because he doesn't have a high pass volume quarterback. But I don't think I think he'll have.
I want you to know that hurts Jalen's feelings.
Yeah, I did. I can't handle your puns right now. I'm gonna need my margarita's almost.
At least you caught it that time, you motherfather. All right. So if you're gonna play Hurts, to me, I think AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, and then Devontae Smith. Whatever the fuck reason, his ownership is crazy high here on Run the Sims. We do our own.
Let me sell you on Miles Sanders.
You're okay with Miles Sanders? I'm just hating that rotation with Philly's running backs. I want nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah, so it's not ideal, right? But also you get a discount in both price and ownership because of it. And at some point, like all we're really looking for is ceiling.
I got Miles Sanders ceiling game week 1. I got it, and it was 18 fucking points. That's not going to win you a GPP.
No, it's not. But he has a bigger ceiling game than that.
He doesn't. That was literally the best game he could have played, and he got 18 points.
Hurts Sanders Brown or Hurts Sanders Smith is an interesting stack.
Who would you run it back with? Who is your favorite? Or I guess we could talk about the Washington stack. You like Scary Terry? I thought I was the only guy that ever played him.
I love Terry. He's so talented, and at some point he's gonna have another pop game. He's so good. I mean, Curtis Samuel has been the usage over there and has gotten the touchdowns and whatever.
Dotson too.
And Curtis Samuel is super talented. I used to love when he was a Panther. So. I'm a Curtis Samuel fan, I guess, but I think at some point Terry's going to have a game, and Dotson has been looking like an alpha wide receiver too, right? I mean, and so he's another one you could run it back with. But I think Terry's going to be the lowest owned. With
Carson Wentz being 6,300, which is a disgusting overprice, right?
That's so expensive for Carson Wentz.
Tell me why a Wentz, Dotson, McLaurin stack couldn't get there. Bring it back with A.J. Brown.
That definitely can get there.
It totally could, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I'm going to be playing it, but it could definitely get there.
Right. Yeah. By the way, if you're like, well, you keep saying every stack could get there. Hey, smart ass new guy. You know who we didn't say? We didn't say a Davis Mills stack could get there, did we? So chill out. You don't get to raise your voice, new guy. All
If you
right.
want to just, I can tell you real quick all the stacks that can't get there.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think the
it's
Baker
just funny
stack
that all the good games just happen to be these early ones we're talking about. Trust me, there's going to be plenty of games we'll be shitting on. This video
So
is
like
really going to
macro
start going
strategy
downhill.
again, you should be thinking about late swapping too, right? Because there's only 4 4 o'clock games, and none of them are particularly strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's the lowest ones. That Rams Arizona game is your highest over under,
And
and is
Arizona's
that
dog
really
shit.
like? Yeah, exactly. Is that really the one you really want to put your eggs in that basket?
Right.
And so like you need to be thoughtful in terms of like what you've left yourself to play later, because there really isn't going to be a lot of pivoting in the 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to be Cup and a bunch of slap dicks. It sounds like a band from the 70s. Cup and the slap dicks. That's what you got in the afternoon.
There's probably plenty of very viable rosters that could be entered in early only slate that could also be entered in this slate. And like you probably don't have to change shit.
Now, when you're making your lineups, you're not making a point to have afternoon guys in there, right? If you make a lineup you like and it's all early guys, that's fine, right?
This week, I guess, because I don't really think I like an afternoon game, but I usually don't like, especially on lineups that I'm making a plan to have a late swap plan for. Like I usually have a pretty intentional plan of what I'm going to do in my high dollar stuff. Like for instance, I'm playing that $3,000 NFL gridiron contest this week, and so like I'll have a plan in that lineup where I probably will not play all early guys. Like I will want to have a pivot plan for the 4 o'clocks.
Leonard Fournette, big guy. Okay, I
Disgusting.
say it
Honestly,
to
yeah,
antagonize him.
No, if you've crushed the early slate, like you probably should be putting in Lenny, right? But also, who is your running back you're going to be playing that's like if I need points running back? So I guess maybe it's like James Robinson in the 4 o'clock game, or in the Jacksonville game, I mean, or James Conner isn't going to play in Arizona, so I don't even know who the backup Arizona running back is. It's not Chase Evans anymore.
Is it not Eno? Is it not Eno Benjamin?
Oh yes, of course it's Eno. Yeah, so you play Eno maybe. But then you have to already be planning to play one of those fucking dudes. That's the crap part. So I don't know. It'd be really interesting. This is the first week of that gridiron contest. And so that'll be my main focus in terms of that lineup. And then I'll also probably just, since I'm going to be spending so much time on that lineup, I'll probably fire that into all my high dollar stuff too.
All right, let's talk about this.
All your eggs in one basket.
We are 27 minutes in. We're through 3 games. We're on pace for a
we can get through,
7-hour show. Okay.
4 real fast.
So, KC versus Indianapolis. We both love this game. I know we do. First of all, I'm just seeing Juju Smith-Schuster projected at 14% ownership. Is that real?
I don't think so.
I don't think that's real either. Yeah, we're just not going to talk about the ownership here. What side of this stack? I mean, obviously, I know what you're going to say. You like the Chiefs side of the stack more, right?
Oh, the Chiefs side of the stack. I think it looks like the Chiefs side is going to be even low owned for some reason, and Kelsey is the piece. I think just skinnies, Mahomes, Kelsey, or I could do full stacks, Mahomes, Kelsey, Juju, or Mahomes, Kelsey, MVS. I think MVS has a spike week in him at some point too.
Not Hardman. He's not on your list of guys you'd want to.
No, I think you could definitely do Hardman.
One.
No, definitely, yeah. Hardman also has a spike weekend, so I think you could basically. I think Kelsey's probably going to be a staple in those lineups for me. Like, I don't think I would be. I mean, you can definitely do it, but I personally don't think I will be doing like Mahomes, MVS, Juju lineups. I think Kelsey will be in all of my Mahomes stacks.
And I assume you're running it back with Pittman. At some point, you just can't afford Taylor, right?
So that's what I still haven't built lineups to see how the builds actually go. But like just on overall, there's not a ton of value that's opening up right now. So I guess it like forced you into playing Eno Benjamin to get some value maybe. But I don't hate the idea of playing Taylor, especially if he's going to be low owned and he's got a price discount down to $9,000.
He's just really, it's really that. When you can't pay down at tight end though, when you're paying $7,900 for Kelsey at tight end, and then your quarterback's expensive, like you're running out of places to pay down. And I just don't.
Yeah,
I
and that
don't see
maybe where you end up double stacking tight end. You put a tight end in the flex, so you play Kelsey and why? Because then you can afford Jonathan Taylor is why.
Jesus.
And like this would be a very specific build, right? And like that would be like this would have to be the game that shoots out. The problem with that is like remember last week I think it was that we had only a few over-unders that were really appealing. And here we have a lot more high projected games and a lot more games that look to be like actual close games.
Let me give you a stack that's viable that it would be so much easier on the wallet.
What if it starts with Matt Ryan, it's not viable.
Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Kelsey. Running back with Kelsey.
Yeah, no, I mean that is a stack.
All right. You keep disrespecting Matt Ryan. You keep doing it. Okay, it's in a dome. You know the game's in a dome. I know you love a dome game.
I do, but also I like quarterbacks that have, arms attached to their bodies.
Okay, we're not gonna stand for Matt Ryan slander. We're moving on to the next game. Your home team, Carolina Panthers. To me, there's really
over this.
I can't believe people are talking up Jawan Johnson. I guess I'm just gonna fucking be late to that party. I don't fucking get it. I'll never get it. I hate Saints pass catchers. I think people are gonna play Olave because he got a couple bombs last week, of which he hardly caught any. Fuck everybody in this game. If I'm playing anybody, I'm playing a naked Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and I probably am just not going to play anybody in this game.
Right. Okay. I lied. Maybe I'll play Panthers defense. I'm always open to a defense against old Jameis.
Actually, I love the Panthers defense, and actually only 2,600 is pretty appealing price tag, so I actually don't mind. And actually, then I would actually be interested in playing CMC. So actually, that I've changed my mind. I'll play Panthers defense and CMC.
So my rule is I don't ever really go above 26 or 2,700 on defense. So that'll probably be like my expensive defense.
That's fair, yeah, and really, it's hard for expensive defenses to pay off. So I think that's probably a smart. I don't necessarily have a hard rule on dollar amount, but
see that game was easy. The fucking dumpster fire. This game is not
easy too.
This one. I feel like there's a little bit more nuance to this game. The Jets have shown a pulse. The Jets have shown a pulse offensively, and we know that the Bengals are quote unquote due, right? So we would be a fool not to at least consider a Bengal stack with a Jets run back, right?
That's exactly what I want to do.
All right. Who would be give me some combinations of some Bengal stacks that you would like?
I think Jamar Chase is my single favorite play besides maybe Kelsey this week.
No one's on it.
He's looking to be like super low owned. He's Jamar fucking Chase against the Jets. Like I've said what I can say.
Would you play him naked or would you always stack him with Burrow?
I will play him one off, but I will probably be always pairing him with a Jet because he is expensive. So you do need like a pretty high ceiling outcome.
Well, then here's the easiest question ever. Who's your run back from the Jets?
I think you can play either of the decent wide receivers. I think you play Elijah Moore or Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson looked good last week. He looked good.
Yeah, and Elijah Moore is very talented. We saw him have a rookie campaign that was awesome last year on a shit team. So, I think either of those guys are totally fine. And I think if you're going to get a decent ownership discount to go Elijah Moore, like give me a 2% owned Elijah Moore and a 2% owned Jamar Chase all day, every day.
Any love for Michael Carter or Breece Hall, who both kind of showed a pulse last week?
Yeah, I think that's the problem is they both kind of showed a pulse, and I don't know what the hell's going to happen in that backfield. I think Breece Hall eventually takes that job probably, but I don't really want to gamble on it. Is this not
just a great game? Like I kind of want to play all these stacks and then just go grab Mixon and Fournette and just make them my two running backs in every lineup and just one off them. I'll just go get action from these two teams with these two bell cows. They're both so reasonably priced, and they both have such safe floors and high ceilings. Why would you not want to play those guys?
I think Mixon has an awesome ceiling this week. His usage has been incredible, and they're playing the Jets, like I said, for Chase. So, not only are they playing the Jets that can similar like we were talking about with the Detroit team, where they can they still have the defense that we've grown accustomed to. But they've shown a little something on offense to where maybe they can not just roll over and they can actually make this a game into the fourth quarter. So where this can be a little bit of a shootout. So I wouldn't be playing probably any of these Bengals naked. I'd probably only be playing them in secondary stacks or full out Burrow stacks. But I do like this game. This is probably this is the last game I'm playing. Yeah.
So you're only getting action in 5 games, is what you're telling us. We got you on the
4
record.
games.
Sir, verbal bets are binding.
I might play skinny pieces of these games, but I'm not playing stacks.
I'm going to go check every one of your 150 lineups, and if you have a player in any more than 4 of those games, including defenses, I'm coming for you.
I take that back. I will be playing a little bits of the Buffalo-Miami game.
Walk it back. He's walking it back.
5 games.
Walking it back. All right. I'm messing with you, brother. There's nothing wrong with having a tight core. I dig it. All right. The Raiders, who went from the greatest offense of all time to an implied total of 20 points. What do you think of them this week?
I don't want anything to do with them this week. Josh Jacobs looks like he's going to be high owned for some unknown reason.
18%? What the fuck is going on? Get the fuck out of here. I guess
Yeah, I
people
don't
just want to punt
understand
at
it.
running back this week. So note to self, don't punt at running back this week.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's actually a really good point, right? And when it starts to look like that, when you look at ownership, once like ownership gets a little more like a little more firm as we get closer to kickoff, when you look at ownership, like when you're thinking of a macro slate, you should be looking at like where is the high owned pieces coming from? And if you're like exactly what you just said, the high owned pieces are looking like they're value running backs. Well, then like a lot of people talk about, and what is like pretty sharp is what flipping the build, right? So if people are playing value at running back, it's time to pay expensive running backs and value at wide receiver, because you've instantly gotten different, but you haven't really changed your ceiling any. You just changed like how your ceiling is distributed.
Right.
And so like that's the name of the game. If you can play the same ceiling outcomes at lower ownership, like that's how you make money.
Well, let me tell you my theory behind why I think so many people are playing these fucking piece of shit 5K running backs. We've already seen multiple. I'm talking at least 5 already that are in the double digits ownership. I think it's because almost all the stacks this week, almost all the viable stacks are kind of pricey. We were doing that Excel sheet before the show, and the cheapest one was like 20,000. That even that's on the low end of the practical ones. The high ends were like 22,000. And if you're doing that with a 3-player stack, I mean, geez, that's a huge chunk of your salary gone before you've even have a decent run back and before you've even put any running backs in your lineup.
Yeah, and it's the same thing like what you were telling me where I was wanting to try to put JT in. It's like, well, where are you getting value then? And it's like, so if I wanted to even start considering that Mahomes stack, even with Pittman, who's getting like a little more expensive, you're going to have to start sticking value in somewhere.
Right.
And so it probably is value running backs this week. And so I think then like maybe it does make that. I guess Wentz was still expensive, so maybe the Goff stack was the cheaper end of that. Maybe you go like Goff, and then that way you can put in an expensive quarterback.
Trap?
Like I guess Goff Cook, right?
Right. I'll tell you one trap I've fallen into before when I do this is like with Tampa Bay having all those wide receivers out, I'll go play the one guy that appears he's going to be on the field a lot and just play, the law of large numbers, he will get a lot of targets. And that always fucking backfires on me. I will not be doing that this week. I don't care if Tampa Bay is calling up high school kids to be on their team. I ain't fucking playing them, even if they're free. I'm not going to take that value there.
One, it's just an undetermined role, and then 2, it's like, do they even mesh with Brady? And their role's uber volatile. If they make a mistake, they just get sat down and never return again. So
don't do it. God, who was
tagging.
There was a white dude last year. Was it Scotty Miller? I swear they had another white dude I played last year. They were down like 2 or 3 receivers. I'm like, oh my God, he'll be the second receiver. He'll 3,200. I gotta play him. Plus, Brady was winning me all the GPPs last year, so I thought I couldn't go wrong. And he legit got like 1 target for 0 catches. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, do you like anybody from the Tennessee side of this?
No.
I can't even talk you into a Derrick Henry if nobody wants to play Derrick Henry.
I mean, I always like a low on Derrick Henry, but I don't know what's up with that offense. And I just don't see how this game gets paced up enough to where Derrick Henry is viable. I'd rather find the extra $700 and play CMC, or the extra $900 and play what's his name?
You're exactly right.
JT.
If I can find $8,100 to put Derrick Henry in my lineup, I can fucking find $8,800 to get McCaffrey in there. That is a fact.
Or $9K to get JT. Yeah,
exactly. Although I think I like McCaffrey more. But anyways, I digress. All right, Baltimore coming off of 5,000 fantasy points last week now has an implied total of like 21 points, something like that. So what are we looking at here? What is there anything about him you like?
I mean, Lamar always has a ceiling on him. I just don't know if New England can do anything other than roll over and play dead. So I just don't know if this can get up paced enough to win you a big field GPP. So I mean, Lamar can always do things that other people can't, but I just don't know that happens enough in this game. So this is the game I'm out on.
I'm trying to be clever here and find somebody. If somebody said you have to play somebody from this game or you will kill your firstborn child, I probably play Hunter Henry. But like even then, that's just because he's a punt tight end, and I really want. I can already tell I'm going to need some punt tight ends based on the builds I'm wanting this week.
I think if I had to play anyone in this game, it'd probably be Damian Harris or Ramondre.
That's what I was thinking.
And I would hope that the volume got there, honestly, because like if there was only one running back there, that would be a valuable role. The problem is like it's not valuable with 2 of them. So I think if I had to play someone in this game, it would probably be one of them, and just hope that like the week I played him, someone gets 70 or 80% of the carries.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the last mega game. The Bills at the Dolphins, which I've told you this. I say this every fucking week. Every time a game Miami's involved, my first instinct is, ooh, that could shoot out. That's what I think every time I see him, especially when it's in Miami. And so when I see this,
you play
my
the
first
Bills,
thought was,
right?
Yeah, and I did this last year. I remember playing a Josh Allen stack because he was playing Miami. I'm like, oh, he is going to just kill today. And it was like Devin Singletary scored a touchdown and Moss scored a touchdown. There was a defensive touchdown. I swear he had like 12 points on the game, and they won like 35-0. And I was like, only the Bills could score 35 points and Josh Allen gets 12 when I play him in every lineup. Only that could happen to me.
Yeah, I mean, any game can fail, and that's an especially frustrating way to actually not have the game fail, but just your portions of the game fail, which is pretty frustrating.
Yep.
But this one, I think, is just going to be so fucking popular from a general field perspective. Like, everyone saw Miami win GPPs last week. Now they're playing Buffalo, who is, like, we have seen them in 2 primetime games already, look just absolutely incredible, like the most efficient offense ever to exist. Mm-hmm. But what I think a lot of people are forgetting is we also saw them absolutely embarrass the Tennessee Titans and make them look like they were a JV fucking football team. And so, like, that defense is legit. And it sounds like they're going to be without some pieces in their secondary, which is, like, pretty interesting for a pass-forward Miami team. But at the same time, I think the field is just going to gravitate to this game. And I think I'm probably just – I'm going to be out. I think, if anything, if Gabe Davis is going to be low owned coming off injury, I think Gabe Davis is pretty interesting.
Is he going to play?
Yeah, I don't know. So that's the thing you got to figure out.
Because Jake Kumaro right now, they have him at 6% optimized rate. I'm like, how the fuck is Jake Kumaro at 6%? But that's because they don't have Davis in there right now. That's got to be.
Yeah, I bet you their inputs are all for him getting the target share. I would, as we get closer, I'm sure they'll.
And by the way, Stephon Diggs is just so mispriced. I mean, that's just a disgusting misprice. 7,700. The way he's played, he should legit be 8,900.
Yeah, so pricing came out before that Monday night game, before he got 3 touchdowns, and so, like, he benefits from that. But I think, like, yes, he is mispriced. He's way underpriced, and yes, he looked absolutely insane, like an alpha on Monday Night Football. But I think that just makes people want to play him even more. Like, the casuals that, like, watch Monday Night Football and fire off their handful of lineups from their toilet Sunday morning, like, are wanting to get Diggs in at 7,700 into their lineups. And I think, as much as, like, I know he has a ceiling and, like, this game can be up-paced, that's what I'm struggling with, is whether I would play Diggs. And so now I'm like, I obviously want to play tight cores. And so, like, if I would play Diggs, I would want to play Allen, Diggs, Davis stacks.
All right, if Davis is out, Davis is out, couldn't we agree? If Gabe Davis is out, Josh Allen, Diggs, Singletary as a 3-person Bill stack is a way that you can get in that game and have a stack that not a lot of people would be playing.
I think you can do that even if Gabe Davis is in, yeah.
Yeah, I like it less if Gabe is playing because, I mean, he's going to get his. And then would you run it back with Waddle or Hill, or it wouldn't matter?
Yeah, I would probably do just rotating them. I do both way builds. I think you're just as likely to have either of them go off.
Right. Is there any punts in this game you like? Can you see a Mike Gesicki or an Isaiah McKenzie or something like that going off?
If I did a punt, it would be on the Bills side, like you said, a McKenzie. Singletary is somewhat of a punt, but yeah.
If Gabe Davis is out, will you eat this Jake Kumaro chalk?
No, I think I'm done eating chalky wide receivers in games.
Especially in main slate, it's so dangerous.
Yeah, just cheap wide receiver. Because the other thing is, right, if this is a value-starved slate, then that's not going to be 20% owned. It's going to be even more. Value on the Bills in a game people already want to like is going to get steamed absolutely out of control. And so, yeah, no, that's just going to be a no for me, dog.
I'm with you, sir. All right, moving over here. Jacksonville, you know me. You know the big guy was excited for this game because, for all of you that don't know, new guy, I kind of have a weird thing with Trevor Lawrence where for every week I just keep playing Trevor Lawrence stacks. And honestly, he hasn't been that bad so far. He just hasn't been great yet. And I thought, here's a chance he's finally going to score 42 points in a game. And now I'm thinking Herbert's going to be out, which to me kills all the Jacksonville upside of a shootout type game.
How much upside did they really have versus this Chargers defense?
I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, that whole, like, good defense stuff, like, I think it's especially against passing defenses, I think it's the most overrated thing in fantasy football. Like, good rushing defenses does directly correlate to running backs not doing well. But, like, good passing defenses get fucking lit up all the time by good quarterbacks. And if you don't know, Trevor Lawrence is an up-and-coming good quarterback.
Hang on. We got to correct some things. So my man that sells me on playing weather edges because a 2% edge matters in DFS is going to tell me that playing good players versus bad defenses, taking that edge,
Who have the
is
Chargers?
not
Who have the
worth
Chargers
it.
played this year? Who have the Chargers played this year?
I have several drinks, Steve. I can't rattle
I,
off their history right now,
I,
but they have been in. They bottled up the Chiefs. They only held the Chiefs to 26 points or 24
the point I'm
points.
trying to make is you have a narrative about them having a good defense. I'm saying it's the third week of the year. Do we really know they have a great defense?
No, we definitely don't. But
and what we do know is they're going to be playing from behind, and Lawrence is going to pass 45 times, and now he has very capable weapons around him to actually get it done and backdoor 28 points. That was my whole goal the whole week.
I'm gonna let him show me that before I play money on that.
Well, I ain't gonna play him now because I don't think that there's any chance they're gonna get behind. I think this is a boring slogfest game now.
Wait. You're saying just because Herbert's not playing, all of a sudden the Chargers are gonna just get rolled by the Jags?
No, I'm saying that they're not gonna blow them out, and it's not going to be the Jags coming back from 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Oh, you were playing that you were going to have Lawrence chucking coming back. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, I misunderstood. Okay, I thought you were saying the Jags were going to blow him out, and I'm like, what the shit? I've got money. You can slide on in, man.
No chance. No, the Chargers are a legit Super Bowl contender, and when they have Herbert, especially a healthy Herbert, they're going to beat the brakes off of Jacksonville. But that's exactly why I wanted a Jacksonville stack, is because I know they'd be passing the whole second half, and you backdoor 200 passing yards in the second half with a couple pass touchdowns. Well, then all of a sudden, even though you played a stack on a team that got their ass whooped, you win a GPP.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
That's like Carson Wentz did that shit last week. They were losing like 465-0, and then he goes out and has like 25 points and fantasy points in the second half.
Yeah, exactly. My buddy was texting me going, "Oh yeah, I'm glad you told me to play Wentz stacks," and it's now whatever it was like 5-0. I think how it started there. I was like, "Shut up, just fucking wait, dude."
Yeah, pump the brakes. Don't be the guy that bitches 30 minutes into the first half. That's my thing.
Or the guy that bitches at halftime when Kyler hasn't done anything, and then Kyler decides to come up and play football in the second half.
All right. Is there anything else before we jump to Kyler? Is there anything else in this game you want to talk about? I have no interest in it. With the Herbert news, it's so iffy.
So the Herbert news is still in the air, right? It sounds like he's like pretty likely not to play.
Yeah, but, with the line dropping 4 points today, it seems like some people have some news that he's going to be out.
Yeah, and like the Vegas line is the best predictor of what's actually going to happen in a game. And if so, Vegas is sure he's not going to play. He's probably not going to play. And the other thing is, I think Vegas probably is thinking sort of like I was earlier in the week that, like, even if he does play, do you really want a dude he's got a broken couple ribs that are like deep bruised ribs or whatever he's got in his cartilage? They're like, fuck that, dude. That sounds painful as shit. I don't want a dude trying to throw the ball downfield. His biggest strength is that he's an incredible downfield talent passer. And so you're going to tell me a dude that's like having a hard time. I mean, I assume it's painful to breathe. It's painful to lift his arms up.
Did you see that one ball? He could barely throw it away. It was so bad.
Like, that's not, I don't want any of that. And I know, like, drugs are hella drugs at this point. Like, he's going to get fired up with good stuff if he plays. But also, wasn't it the Chargers that punctured someone's lungs doing that shit? So yeah. I'm good. I'm just not going to play Herbert.
I'd say it's 1 in a million he plays. Speaking of 1 in a million, the Millionaire Maker. Did you know that if your name gets drawn right now, you get to make a Millionaire Maker with me and John? We're going to split it with you 50-50. So make sure you leave a comment on this. Go like and retweet my shit. Here's the person who's getting a Millionaire Maker ticket. I just threw it in randomly. Aaron Favre. That guy always gives me cheers.
Hey, we know him.
That's my dude. Cheers to that guy. All right, Aaron. Me, you, John, we're making a lineup. Appreciate the support. All of you, we're going to do this every Saturday. Fucking go like and retweet my shit. Leave a comment. Who's your favorite stack this week? That's all you got to do. Also, if you really like the cut of my jib, come check out the old Discord. We're almost at 300. It's growing. It's right here. It's connected to Patreon. Shit, it looks like I already got another sign up while we were on air. So let's go, you motherfather. All right. I think Kyler's broken. I don't want to play this game.
That offense, dude. I think they just have bad coaching, bad offense. I don't want anything to do with that game.
Yeah.
If I wanted anything to do with that game, like Cup is like the most insane alpha, but 9.9K is so expensive.
Especially this week. Especially this week.
He needs to put up 40 points for him to kill you. And anything short of that, I'm good fading. Well, 35, I might be a little angsty. So say 35 or less. I'm like pretty good fading. And like, does he put up 35 all that often?
Probably 1 out of 4 times, to be honest.
But what's insane, like you see his base projection there of 27.96. That's saying his median. On average, he scores 28 points.
There you go.
That's insane.
50%.
Dude.
That's what I said.
That's so insane. That's an alpha projection right there. His target share is insane. His quarterback is fairly good.
So you would be okay with playing Cup as a one-off, just by himself?
No, see, the problem is you need him to get pushed to get there. At that price tag, you have to have someone on the other side, I think, and I don't really want anyone on the other side.
Not
so that's
even
why I think I'm
Eno
just out.
Benjamin or Greg Dortch, who's not even a.
The problem with Eno or Dortch is both because their value, they'll be like the people that play Cup will play that other piece, right? The connection of those two will be insane.
Ertz? Can I sell you on Ertz?
No. I'm ready for Ertz to retire, so my boy Trey McBride can get in there.
All right. Yeah, you were selling him hard during best ball season. So this game, even though it has a relatively high, it has a high total, we want to get Cup in, but we just don't. It just doesn't really work with what we're looking at building on lineups, right?
Yeah, because this game can still have it can still hit its over under and be the scoring game, and Cup can catch 2 touchdowns for 100 yards and not be in the optimal, and that's pretty gross to think about. Cup can easily lead his team to victory and score 28, 29 points and not be there. So yeah, this is going to be a pass for me. But Cup can burn me because he can put up 45.
All right, let's talk about Atlanta and Seattle. Before we get out of here, let's throw up in our mouth a little bit and talk about Atlanta versus Seattle. I actually there's some weird pieces in this game. I kind of like a Kyle Pitts getting down to 4,800. Can I just play the talent narrative?
I'm still going to play Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is he showed us last season he had a great rookie campaign. I'm not done losing money on Kyle Pitts. So, no, load me up with Kyle Pitts and bring it back with the grown-ass man DK Metcalf.
Oh, you're going to run it back? I would just play him as a one-off. God, Seattle's well, okay. Geno has been more effective passing than I would have thought. I'll say that.
Yeah. And DK is a grown-ass man. So, when in doubt, put grown-ass man in your lineup.
All right. I'm putting A.J. Brown if I'm putting a grown-ass man. All right, last one.
You put both those grown men in your lineup.
Last one. Green Bay, Tampa Bay. Who would have ever thought that a game like this would have, the third lowest total on the slate whenever you got a couple Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
When the scheduler put this up, they were like, "Oh, this will be such a good late game on the afternoon and then it's just going to be a snooze."
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Talk me off of Leonard Fournette. I'm playing him in every lineup. Talk me off of it.
I think he's going to be so popular, dude. He's going to be so popular.
What's the barrier? If he's 20% owned, I still don't give a fuck.
If he's 20%, I think I would play him, but I think he's going to be more than 20%. But if he's going to be 20%, I think it's probably fair. So the reason I think he's going to be so highly owned is there's just no other options on that Tampa Bay offense right now. Evans is suspended, and every other wide receiver is dead to the point where they're signing up bag boys. So, probably not literally bag boys, but probably not far off. So
could that actually hurt his production, though? Where Green Bay's just we know that they're going to give it to the fat Lenny, so let's just stop him.
Stack the box? Yeah. At some point, that would seem like it would be a pretty viable defensive strategy, and Green Bay showed they can play defense when they want to.
There's a chance that Perriman, Gage, Godwin, Evans, all of them, none of them, all of them could be out, none of them could play, right? That's a real thing.
And so who plays wide receiver then? I literally don't know who plays wide receiver.
Scotty Miller.
Yeah. I'm good.
We know Tom Brady loves a feisty white guy out of the slot.
Are they not calling up Gronk nonstop? Dude, you're sure you don't want to play this weekend?
Wait, what about Darden? I've heard of Darden before.
You have?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
That's because you like college football. I do not know who he is.
All right. I'm kind of getting warm to this game. You're going to tell me that a Tom Brady, let's say Russell Gage plays. Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Russell Gage stack, run it back with Aaron Jones. You're telling me that couldn't be a 0.001% stack that anybody's playing that could possibly hit?
So the first half, I believe, is true. It can be a 0.0010 stack. The could possibly hit part, I am not sure could happen, but I guess I don't want to say it couldn't happen because crazier shit could happen. But
you're right. Tampa Bay has never went off at home, have they? They've never shown the propensity to score 35 at home. You're right.
Yeah, but anyways, if you're gonna play that stack, please play it in the Millie Maker because you need to get paid off when that thing hits.
Russell Gage is a future Hall of Famer. Tom Brady is an all-conference. Okay, I'm kidding. All right. So, any closing thoughts before we get out of here? We're gonna make it under an hour. Let's go.
Again, like I said last week, just be thoughtful in your roster construction and be thoughtful in the games you're playing. Don't get too spread out. Don't feel like you need to get a piece of all these games. Feel comfortable just Xing some of these games out, even if it's the Buffalo Miami game, even if it's like one of these high scoring games. Just like pick your line, like the narratives you want, and then hit them hard. So, like for me, it's going to be focusing on those, like I guess 4 games that I ended up highlighting mostly, or maybe 4.5 games, and then trying to get as many different pieces from those games that make sense as I can.
My advice would be, it's all about the primary stack. You got to go pick the primary stack that's going to go off. And if you can do that and it's not a high-owned one like Tua or Lamar last week, that's when you really start to have a real chance to win a GPP, even if the rest of your lineup is just good, not even perfect. If you just have the nut stack and you have multiple versions of it, you give yourself some real chances to win GPPs. And yes, you're probably only going to hit that nut stack maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but the key is to go find ones that could potentially go off, right? Like don't go play a Davis Mills stack. There's no chance it'll go off. Go find a sneaky one. Go find your Joe Burrow stack. Go find your Matt Ryan stack, your Tom Brady stack, whatever disgusting stack you could think of that has at least a chance to go off, right? That's what I would say is the most important thing.
The Mahomes stack is looking like that low priced, or I'm sorry, not low priced, low owned, high ceiling stack.
Of all the ones we ran, the Mahomes was definitely the lowest owned stack. We did Mahomes, Kelsey, Juju, and it was the lowest owned of all of the big, like the big 3 players that you could stack for the quarterbacks, like the biggest names. So that by definition would give you the most leverage. I think that's it. Make sure to come check out the Discord. We do way more content over there for them, and we're actually going to go make a video for them right now where we give them way more stuff. Go leave a comment here. Go like and retweet this on Twitter and get multiple names up on the wheel. Maybe you'll win it next week. I hope you kick some ass this week. I hope you've enjoyed this show, but most of all, I hope you enjoy my outro, you mother father.